This is the final part, Part 3 of Chapter 1, Introduction to Technology in Physical Education. Again, this lecture is taken from the material in Bonnie Mauston's textbook, Using Technology in Physical Education, and is a required course for the class Technology for Pete at Slippery Rock University. The last part of this chapter deals with ergonomics. That may be a new term to you. Ergonomics is actually the study of the effects of technology use on humans, so it's a rather new term. Before we had technology, we didn't really have to worry about ergonomics too much. What is ergonomics? Well, as the last slide just showed, the study of the effects of technology use on humans. As people who use technology, who use computers a lot, we are susceptible to some issues and some problems, such as headaches, eye strain, back pain, and shoulder or arm pain. All of those are common complaints of computer users, and I'm sure you have probably suffered from some of those ailments as well. As physical educators, we should model healthy behavior when we're using a computer, whether it's in our office or in the gymnasium. We should be a good role model for our students, obviously in all areas, but also with computer use. So the first thing is the position of your monitor. This might be a little challenging if you have a laptop, but if you have a desktop set up in your office or in your home, the monitor should be directly in front of your user, and it should be placed so that your head is in a comfortable and relaxed position. And this helps to reduce the chance of any neck or shoulder pain if you put it directly in front of you. So the top of your monitor should be at or just below eye level, about 20 inches from your eyes, and the top should be about 15 degrees below your eye level. So this means that you shouldn't be looking up too far at your monitor, you shouldn't be looking down. It should be comfortably placed in front of you at the description that I just described. Your posture. Your chair should be directly in front of your monitor. Again, that might be hard in your apartment setup if your chair might be off to the side of your desk because of where your bed is. But if you have an ideal setup, your chair should be right in front of the monitor, and it should be adjusted so your feet can rest flat on the floor and your knees should be at 90-degree angle. This helps with circulation, especially if you spend long hours in front of the computer. There should be clearance between your seat and the back of your legs, again, to help with circulation so your legs don't fall asleep and so that you're not harming yourself by sitting for long hours in front of the computer. Your posture. You should adjust the backrest to support the small of your back. Obviously, this would be if you have a computer that has the adjustable backrest. If you go to the library, the chairs in front of the computer are pretty good for ergonomics. But if you have a chair that's adjustable, make sure that it does support the small of your back. You want to occasionally lean back in your chair to relax a little bit after spending a great deal of time in front of the screen. And you should also stand up and stretch periodically. Go walk, get a glass of water, to kind of stretch it out a little bit if you're spending long times in front of the computer. When you're in your typing position, your hands and wrists should be straight and your elbows should not be lower than your wrist. So if you do that right now, a 90-degree angle is good because if your wrist is above your elbow, less than 90 degree, that's going to put a strain in your wrist. Sometimes you hear about people getting carpal tunnel syndrome in their wrist where they need surgery. So that can happen if you're reaching up. In other words, your elbows are less than 90, or even reaching down. So you want to try to keep them as close to 90 as you can in your posture. And as I mentioned, it should be from your upper arm to your forearms, 90 degrees, and your elbows should be close to your sides. You shouldn't be typing with your elbows out, pointed to this to either direction. They want to be kind of down, pointed towards the ground, so that you're not using any extra effort or any extra muscles that might get fatigued. If you have a mouse, that means you're not using a laptop. If you have a mouse, keep it close to the keyboard. When you type, use a light touch. Don't try to arch your fingers or hit the keys, and don't type with your wrist resting on the desktop. And you don't want to pound the keyboard. The old typewriters that we used to have before they invented computers did require quite a hard touch in order to get the keys to work. That's not the case anymore with our laptops. So you want to make sure, even our desktops, you don't want to pound the computer, and you don't want to rest your wrist on the screen. I'm sorry, on the keyboard. You just want a nice light touch. As far as your eyes go, the number one computer complaint is eye strain. And I know I suffered from this. I have in the past. I did when I was working on my doctoral program when I spent long hours in front of the computer, or I would be reading lots of things online. And it's not uncommon to have red, sore, dry eyes, blurred vision, headaches, and more that can develop by prolonged use of the computer. So if you are in a room that has overly bright lights or windows that create a glare, you can actually get one of these screens that go in front of the computer. They kind of diffuse the light a bit as the screen or as the slide shows you. So you want to be careful with the amount of light that's projecting off the screen that can cause some pain. Finally, technology is changing the way we teach physical education, from the early fitness reports to the future uses that we can't even imagine today. Technology, remember, is not a means unto itself. It's a process and it's a tool for increasing student learning and teacher productivity. It can do both of those things. It can also provide visual, auditory, and kinesthetic input for your students. As physical educators, we have to access it, we have to learn it, and we have to use it. We also have to be cautious of the potentially negative side effects of technology and counter those elements which are under our control. So we must ensure that our students practice the proper ergonomics when using the computer. This ends Chapter 1, Introduction to Technology in Physical Education.